Yesterday just felt so bloody disheartening. It felt disheartening to see that effort, where, of course, Toronto FC lost to, on paper, the worst team in Major League Soccer, the team from DC United, 1-0. It was disheartening to see a former player of ours, a guy that was drafted by TFC that we got rid of to bring in Di Rosario. And again, I'm not questioning the move. I'm just questioning the fact that we got rid of a good young player. He comes back and he's the guy of all the guys to actually, stick in the dagger yesterday for Toronto FC's playoff hopes. It's disheartening to see that effort on the pitch yesterday. TFC got booed off the pitch yesterday. And that's the first time that I've seen that. There was a lot of, frankly, in the South End, there was a lot of dissension in the stands yesterday. A couple of the big supporters groups, again, I've got friends. I'm in one of the groups. I'm not going to really say which one for people that don't know me, because the blog is not about being a supporter in a specific group. It's about being a supporter in general. But suffice it to say that the two big groups in the South End yesterday, of which I'm a member of one of them, some of their top boys really got into it yesterday. Verbally, there was a lot of yelling and a lot of angst between the groups. That again was really disheartening to me as a fan, because it was the performance on the pitch that actually led to it. One of the groups started to sing the Twisted Sister song, "We're not going to take it, we're not going to take it anymore," after the De Guzman goal, one of the Julius James goal, I should say. Geez, I wish it was a De Guzman goal, eh? But they started to sing that. One of the other supporters groups started to sing a more affirming sort of chant for the club, and the philosophical difference in letting a club know when you think their effort is substandard, yelling at them, versus support the guys on the pitch, protest after the game is over, and try to help the boys win. I'm of two minds there. I understand where both groups are coming from. I'm just really, really disheartened that it was the effort on the pitch yesterday that led a lot of good friends to actually get upset with one another. And again, that was very, very disheartening. It was very disheartening, frankly, to see a coach like Preki use an excuse of a 4 p.m. start time instead of a start time, say, of 7 p.m. for television. And again, the game being on CBC, it started at 4 o'clock Eastern yesterday. He used that as an excuse. He comes into his press conference, which I'm going to link, by the way, on the blog. He comes in and says, "Oh, I'm not going to make any excuses, but here's an excuse. We had no legs today because we started 3 hours earlier." Come on, give me a freaking break. 3 hours? I can understand a day. I can understand 2 days. I can understand a week. But 3 hours is not going to make a significant difference in an athlete's recovery. The reason why they didn't have legs yesterday is a question that you, Mr. Preki, can probably answer a lot better than I can, because I don't bloody know. I was very, very disheartened to hear that Nick Dasovic, an assistant coach with the club, who, if you remember, was with the club for a long time. He was there under John Carver. When Carver left the team early in the season last year, Dasovic was under some controversy, passed over as the interim coach. Chris Cummins was appointed as the interim coach. We all know how that ended at the end of 2009. Dasovic, by all accounts, has been banished on a scouting mission when, frankly, I think he's needed here. He's loved in the dressing room. The players love him. Again, with the transfer window closed, I don't really know what a scouting trip is going to do for anybody right now, considering that, we have a scouting department. We've got Jimmy Brennan. I don't know what Jimmy does. Hopefully it's scouting. But sending Nick away from the club right now under a cloud doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, when his skills and his effort and his motivation is definitely needed, in my humble opinion, with Toronto FC. Speaking of people, not being with the club anymore, Michelle Lascelles, who's been great to me, I'll give her full marks. I know that there's been some conflict between her group and some of the supporters, especially on road trips over the last few years. But on a personal note, she's actually picked up the phone and talked to me when I've had questions. And she, by all accounts, as the director of PR for Toronto FC, is on her way back to her old job at Fox Soccer Channel doing the Fox Soccer Report. I personally wish her well. I hope she does really well in her future endeavors. But her leaving at the end of September, I think it is what I'm hearing, and Nick Dasovic being sent on a scouting mission with the transfer window being closed. All of this happening when the team is actually struggling. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not. I actually hope it's a coincidence. I hope it's not a sign of much more conflict brewing behind the scenes that we're frankly not aware of. And what's going on? We've got the Champions League on Wednesday, don't we? And that's disheartening because we're going to Real Salt Lake. We're going to arguably the toughest place in all of the United States to play right now. It's an absolute fortress for RSL. It's disheartening considering that Preki /Mo /Preki, whomever, didn't take the Arabe Unido game that we lost in Panama a couple of weeks ago, frankly, as seriously as I think they should have. And again, I know some people disagree with me, and you're certainly entitled to disagree. But even with the pitch, even with the bad surface, even with the small amount of fans, even with the traveling, even with the fixed Jack Warner officiating against Canadian clubs, that was a still winnable game if Preki would have actually played his A team and secured those 3 points which were on the table because Arabe Unido, the Panamanian Arabs, don't know where that name came from, are absolute garbage, and that was a winnable game. We would have won that game. We would have had 6 points. We wouldn't have had to worry too much about Salt Lake. Now they got to go into Salt Lake and try, instead of saving themselves for Houston, they've got to try to get something from that game, and that's going to be near to impossible, in my humble opinion, considering that we've got 6 games now in Major League Soccer where TFC hasn't scored a single solitary goal. And the gloves are off. It's disappointing, Mr. Mo Johnston, that you, sir, still have a job. I can't understand it. Your team was booed off the pitch yesterday. The team that you built, that you created, was booed off the pitch. We've had more players through the doors here in the last 4 years than any other comparable club in MLS. We've had 4 coaches in 4 years, including you, Mr. Johnston. We still don't have a striker. We still don't have wingers and fullbacks. And we're still outside the playoffs. You are the only constant that there's been in the last 4 years, and the results do not warrant you keeping your job. I'm frankly disappointed and disheartened. Again, disheartened, I think, is the theme of this blog. Disheartened that you still have a job. And season ticket sales haven't started yet. For that matter, MLS Cup sales haven't started yet. There's 2 more Champions League games to go that I think they're going to have a hell of a time actually filling. I've taken it upon myself the last couple of games to just nonchalantly chat with some of the touts and scalpers. And by the way, one of them was 10 feet outside Gate 3 on Saturday, which was an absolute disgrace. And he couldn't get rid of his tickets, if you can believe it. The scalpers are having a hell of a time getting rid of their tickets right now. Anecdotal evidence is telling me that people that sit in the expensive parts of the stadium, the people that have box seats and things like that, are having a hell of a time giving tickets away. I know supporters are having a hard time getting friends to go to games when the team has been so crappy well now into its 4th year. So I'm disheartened. I'm still wearing my badge, and I'm still going to support my team through thick and thin. And Lord knows this is thin right now. But yesterday felt so disheartening for so many reasons, as I've stated over these past few minutes. I think with the season ticket renewal campaign coming up, with the Champions League coming up, and with MLS Cup coming up, and with the team being on the outside looking into the playoffs, and we are out of the playoffs, people. Not technically out of the playoffs, but it'll be a miracle of miracles if we make it. I just simply don't see it with the team that we have and with the result that we had yesterday. If we're out of the playoffs, I think for the first time in the history of this team, they're going to have some challenges filling some of their seats, especially some of the more expensive seats at BMO Field. I wouldn't want to be working as a ticket agent right now or an account manager, I think is the term, at TFC. I'm going to be renewing my tickets But I'm not going to be too pleased if there's going to be a ticket rise as well. And I really think that, again, getting back to Mo for a moment before I end things, and by the way, there'll be another blog up, a video blog up after the Salt Lake City game on Wednesday. I know it's going to be late, but I'll be up well into the night to get it up for you in the morning. I think, frankly speaking, that it'll be a huge mistake for this club to go into a season ticket renewal campaign with the Ginger Glaswegians still in charge.